Malacanang vows to leave no stone unturned in holding to account those responsible for the dengue vaccine scare. The health department has put the dengue vaccine program on hold after Sanofi Pasteur revealed its dengue vaccine called DENGUE may cause severe illness. Now tens of thousands of children may be at risk. Our Joyce Ilas tells us more.
The health department says about 70,000 children who were vaccinated with dengue and who never contracted dengue before are at risk of suffering from a more severe case of dengue after 30 months of being vaccinated. This after Sanofi Pasteur, the maker of dengue, reported that while it can prevent dengue for at least 30 months, cases of a severe disease may occur later on among those who were vaccinated but not previously infected with the dengue virus. The Department of Health reports that since 2016, more than 700,000 children ages 9 and above were given at least one dose of the dengue vaccine DENGUE in several parts of the country. Of this number, the DOH says only 8 to 10% or about 70,000 children have not had dengue yet.
In the light of this new analysis, the DOH will place the dengue vaccination program on hold, while review and consultation are ongoing with experts, key stakeholders, and of course, the WHO.
The DOH cannot explain yet how severe the dengue fever will be if it is contracted by children who have never had dengue when the 30-month protection period is over.
Hindi nga maliwanag sa atin, what constitutes severe disease, di ba? So we're awaiting their reply. So hanggat hindi pa sila nagre-reply, mahirap naman pangunahan natin sila.
DOH officials tell parents not to worry and to monitor their children and report any unusual symptoms. To mitigate the problem, the DOH will conduct mandatory history taking on patients who received the vaccine, as well as all hospitalized cases of those who are immunized, regardless of symptoms, and mandatory investigation of any issues related to the immunization. This surveillance system will be in place until 5 years after a vaccination.
Yung severe disease ay hindi naman nangangahulugan lahat mangyayari yan, no? Ngunit aantayin pa rin natin ang pinakahuling ulat or update mula sa Sanofi at ang WHO.
The World Health Organization recommended the use of dengue in 2016 in areas where dengue is highly endemic based on Sanofi information at the time. The Food and Drug Administration says dengue underwent clinical trials to ensure safety and efficacy. The latest analysis is only an update.
It will not get an FDA approval if we don't have if the documents are not complete.
In 2016, the DOH spent more than 3 billion pesos to buy dengue. To date, there are still almost 800,000 doses that have not been used, amounting to almost 800 million pesos. Many of these doses will expire in August next year.
Vice President Leni Robredo also speaks up on the issue. She's calling for urgent answers from those involved in the controversy. On her weekly radio show, the Vice President says, quote, "Kailangang masusing pag-aralan at panagutin yung mga kailangang managot," unquote. The Vice President adds authorities must immediately address the issue, especially for the parents of children who got the vaccine. Senator Win Gatchalian is also weighing in. He says the health department should do more to stay in control of the dengue vaccine scare. Gatchalian says the agency should tap local government units to help reassure parents of the students who had been immunized. He adds local officers need to be deployed efficiently as they are the government's frontliners during such emergencies. Transport Group Piston calls off the two-day nationwide strike scheduled tomorrow and on Tuesday. It heeds the call of Senator Grace Poe to let the Senate tackle concerns regarding the jeepney modernization program. Our Makoy Popioko has the details.
Na-appreciate natin itong pag-welcome ni yung pag-apila sa atin ni Senator Grace Poe. At dahil dyan, ay napagdesisyonan natin na magbigay daan sa apila ni Senator Grace do sa public hearing.
Piston President George San Mateo says he's ready for the Senate hearing on Thursday, when the Senate Committee on Public Services gathers stakeholders to thresh out issues on the jeepney modernization program. Committee Chairperson Senator Grace Poe earlier appealed to Piston to call off their two-day transport strike pending the upcoming urgent hearing. She now welcomes the decision of the group and hopes the hearing will allow both sides to raise their concerns. San Mateo is looking forward to facing Transportation Secretary Art Tugade in the Senate hearing. He's accused Tugade of harassment and for not talking to his group to hear their proposals. The Transportation Department has sued San Mateo for organizing a nationwide strike in February this year. It also threatened to cancel the franchise of jeepney operators joining the protests. Even with the strike called off, LTFRB board member Eileen Lizada says they will still deploy government vehicles for free rides on Monday morning.
We have directed the head of the enforcement to direct all enforcers to check the terminals of Piston as well as the routes involved. Then we will decide tomorrow before noontime if we will proceed with the monitoring the whole day. We will not rely on the press con. We cannot afford surprises for the riding public.
As for the passengers, they're relieved no strike is taking place.
Mas maganda para makabiyahe kami ng walang sagaban.
Mas maganda naman na hindi na ituloy yung strike kasi maraming tao maapektuhan. Mas pabor ako kasi yung mga anak ko pumapasok eh.
They're also appealing to government officials and protesting transport groups to declare a truce in the spirit of Christmas, as they expect traffic congestion to worsen in the coming weeks. Still, San Mateo vows to organize more aggressive protests before the year ends. As President Rodrigo Duterte has said, the modernization program rolls out this January. Makoy Popioko, CNN, Philippines.
After Transport Group Piston said it's calling off the two-day planned jeepney strike, some schools announced they're resuming classes tomorrow. Classes in all levels in Guagua, Pampanga and Camarines Sur will push through Monday. The local governments there earlier canceled classes due to the planned strike. No word yet if Albay will follow suit. Piston may have canceled its planned strike tomorrow, but the Transport Coalition is still against the jeepney modernization program. As the government prepares to put on the road 5,000 new jeepneys by January, our senior correspondent Ruth Cabal looked at prototypes of these modern jeepneys. Here's part one of her special report.
From these to these. By next year, the so-called modernized jeepneys are plying our roads. Under the Transportation Department's modernization program, the new Jeeps need to use clean fuel and follow stricter emission standards, or better yet, have them run on electric or solar power. On top of these, the jeepneys must have free Wi-Fi for passengers, CCTV cameras, a global navigation satellite system, and a fare card reader. The Trade Department also has its own set of standards for modernized Jeeps, based on the size of the vehicle, the number of passengers, and provision for cargo. The Jeeps may have parallel seats like the existing jeepneys, or forward-facing ones, and the entrance is on the side.
This type of jeepney is air-conditioned. It's like a bus, but a bit smaller. It can seat up to 19 passengers, but standing passengers are not allowed. It also has a special platform for persons with disabilities so that they can come in, even on their wheelchairs, and sit and ride comfortably in the front part of the jeepney.
Euro 4 kasi is nagkukumply sa ating Clean Air Act na mas malinis ang emission niya kaysa doon sa Euro 2. Mas efficient siya, mas malaki ang saving.
This Jeep runs on a Euro 4 engine. Another prototype, an electronic Jeep, which is smaller and targeted for short-distance routes. It uses a lithium-ion battery. Manufacturers will set up charging stations in places like gasoline stations.
Wala siyang exhaust talaga. Wala siyang pollution. It's more like an issue of ecology and economics eh. So ecology is easy to answer, no? Dahil pollutant yan. Because they're old and they're actually surplus or rejected engines na from Japan.
But these modern Jeeps are not cheap. The smaller units cost about 700,000 to 800,000 pesos, while the bigger ones can reach up to 1.6 million pesos. The Transport Department, however, says there's a financing program to help drivers and operators. The agency expects to pilot test the program and put on the road up to 5,000 new jeepneys by January. But several transport groups led by Piston vowed to oppose the jeepney modernization program, calling it a corporatization of the public transport industry. Worse, it could leave up to 500,000 jeepney drivers jobless. Ruth Cabal, CNN Philippines.
In part 2, we look into the proposal of groups opposing the program and why it's important to modernize jeepneys without letting go of the original look of the